left-hand control section of the UDO Super 6 because it is something. I'm going to start kind of at the top and then jump to the bottom. You don't need to know the directions I'm going to use. Okay, so first let's start up here at the top where you have an Octave controller, and it is kind of the momentary switch sort of thing. It doesn't, all you do is switch it and then it goes back to the center. So if you want to go right or left, to go up or down, man, those are just the craziest words to describe something much simpler than that. Okay, so you have an Octave control switch over here. When it's in the center, it's of course in the center. If you will go left, you get a partial lighting with the original light still lit, which is lower. And further, you get all three lit. Now, as you can probably see, not sure you ever want to go lower than that. I mean, I guess you could, but we are down in individual clicks, which is very low. So if we go back up to the center, and it's really easy to see where the center is because of the way that this thing lights. If the light's only on in the center, you're in the center. And that's as high as you'll get to go, and that should be fine. This also obviously serves other functions when you press the shift, but we'll talk about those later. Below that, you'll see Portamento. And as you might notice, it is polyphonic Portamento. And it's quite long. Let's hear. Okay, so long that it's too long to wait. We made it. Okay, yeah. So you have a fair amount of Portamento. Of course, this would sound more like the Portamento you know if we were in solo mode. Yeah, so Portamento, it's very nice. Next, we have manual. Now, this is a button that you press when you need to read the manual. And here's what happens. Nothing. You don't get a manual. You get me. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so what manual really does is manual gives you whatever the board settings are currently set at. It is pure analog realm where what you see is what you get, which is always awesome. Of course, if you have a synthesizer this complicated, who knows what you'll get. Let's see where we're at. Okay, here's what I was playing, which is almost nothing, but here we go. So I'm always kind of interested to see how long it takes to get back from wherever you're at. So that's a more reasonable outcome, but yeah. That's what the manual does, and if you want to get out of manual, press patch to go back to your patches. Which we did. All right. Well, that is the upper part of the left-hand controller. Now let's go down to the lower part. Okay. If you notice here, down here at the bottom, you have triangles pointing left and right and a triangle pointing up. The left and right arrows are, of course, going to govern the left and right movement of this Roland-esque. Now, this is Roland-esque, I will say. Everyone keeps saying this is similar to Roland, the synthesizer, and I'm really like, no. But this is, Roland was the first to sort of come out with this concept of pitch controller. And to be honest, I kind of prefer it. Anyway, so if we want to figure out how to make the left-right controller, the left-right aspect of this wheel work, we go over to the left-right arrows where we will see two sliders. One that says VCF and one says DDS. So basically, it should be pretty obvious that you set this to whatever outcome you want to have bent by this sort of modulation / pitch wheel situation. So apparently there are settings that are contrary to what the actual settings are. Okay, so you'll get nothing depending on what your patch says, but if you make sure these are down, you'll get nothing. And then if we wanted to go up in pitch, we'd like just do it. It goes all the way to an octave. Oh, interesting. Some sort of calibration situation. I'm not sure what I guess what we're looking at is 0 through 10. So it's not showing you the actual intervals. It's just showing you an amount. So we start to get changes in this top half mostly. And there is a switch here in the middle that I'm thinking probably governs both of these DDS manipulations, but you have a choice of DDS1, DDS2, which we're not playing here. Let's get DDS2 in on this action. DDS1, DDS2, or both at once. So that's really simple. If you want this to be a pitch bend, you decide which oscillators you want it to bend, and you find the interval you want it to bend up to an octave, and you're set. We have the same situation over here with the VCF. And of course, it's going to depend on what your VCF is set to. So if your VCF is completely open, going up isn't going to do anything for you. Going down will. But if you have it in the middle, and of course, you can do both at the same time. So that is fantastic. Now, over here, we have this arrow that points up, and what isn't necessarily visually or in a way kind of tactilely obvious is that this is a bend that goes up too. So to give you an example, and what it's doing is when you bend up, you're going to access our friend LFO2. So there's nothing more boring than having an LFO that's affecting some cool part of your synthesizer, and then when you activate the The modulation wheel, it then adds that exact same LFO to some other thing. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that, but we would like it to be otherwise, of course. So we have an LFO2 on the Super 6 dedicated to that particular function.